Today, we're not just looking at an inventor. We're going to try and get inside the head of a man who literally saw the future in a flash of lightning. We're diving deep into Nikola Tesla, using his own words to try and understand not just what he built, but how he thought. Okay, let's just pause on this for a second because this one quote, it's pretty much the key to everything about Tesla. He didn't see the world as a bunch of random, chaotic stuff happening. To him, the entire universe was one single, gigantic, beautiful machine. His whole life was his quest to figure out how it worked, to learn its secrets, so that humanity could, as he put it, plug our own little machines into the very wheelwork of nature. You know, to really get a handle on his inventions, you first have to realize just how differently his brain was wired. I mean, he saw huge, fundamental problems where everyone else saw things that were already solved. And he saw these incredible cosmic possibilities where other people just saw, well, the impossible. And it all started in a classroom with one little spark that set him on a collision course with the entire scientific establishment. So, picture this. You're a young, brilliant student. Your professor is showing off the latest and greatest piece of tech, a DC motor. And it's clunky, it's inefficient, and it's throwing this angry shower of sparks everywhere. Now, everybody else in that room, they see progress. They see the cutting edge. But Tesla, he sees a clumsy, brute force piece of junk. He sees a fundamental flaw in the design. So when he actually spoke up, when he suggested, hey, I think we can build a motor without this terrible sparking part, what happened? His professor basically laughed him out of the room. He dedicated an entire lecture to explaining why Tesla's idea was a foolish fantasy, a pipe dream. But that public takedown, it didn't crush him. No way. It lit a fire under him. It just proved to him that he was on his own path. And he knew, with this kind of gut certainty, that there had to be a better, more elegant way to do things. So what was this little piece of metal that got Tesla so worked up, and what was his incredible alternative? Because this was never just about making a better motor. This was about imagining an entirely new electrical universe, one built on a much more natural principle. Okay, so here's the deal. Direct current, or DC, only flows one way. So to make a motor actually spin, you need this little mechanical switch, the commutator, to physically, violently flip the direction of the current over and over again. It's all about friction and sparks and things wearing out. And to a mind like Tesla's, it was just ugly. It was an unnecessary part on what should have been a perfect machine. In this comparison here really gets to the heart of it. It's not just about technology. It's a difference in philosophy. The DC motor is all about mechanics, about forcing the electricity to do what you want. Tesla's idea for an AC motor was the total opposite. He wanted to use the electricity's own natural back-and-forth rhythm as the thing that created the motion. It's the difference between a clunky machine and a force of nature. And this was his stroke of genius. He said the entire idea just appeared in his mind, fully formed like a vision, while he was walking in a park. He literally saw it. Instead of one current, he'd use two or more, all alternating perfectly out of sync with each other. And together, they would create this magnetic field that didn't just jerk back and forth. It rotated, smoothly, silently, like a little magnetic whirlwind. The rotor inside didn't need to be forced. It was just carried along by this invisible, magical force. No sparks, no friction, no commutator. Just pure, silent power. But you see, after figuring out how to rewire the entire planet, Tesla's mind just couldn't stop. It was already racing ahead, into these areas of electricity that were so extreme they were almost supernatural. He started doing experiments with forces that hardly anyone had ever seen, let alone tried to control. Right. So he started building these machines to make currents that vibrated not 60 times a second, but hundreds of thousands, even millions of times a second. He was jacking up the voltage to levels that were basically man-made lightning. And up there, in that extreme territory, the rules of electricity started to get really, really weird. His lab stopped being a workshop and started being this theater of the unknown. Now, this is a huge idea. Just think about what he's saying. He realized that at these insane frequencies, electricity didn't even need a wire or a filament to make light anymore. The energy could literally be broadcast through space, shaking up the very air molecules until they glowed. He was talking about making empty space itself light up. And the things he was creating, I mean, it was pure magic. He talked about wires just erupting in these beautiful streams of harmless electrical fire. He'd walk into a dark room holding plain glass tubes, and they'd just burst into light in his hands, powered by absolutely nothing he could see. He was literally playing with lightning, and he wasn't afraid of it at all. He would actually electrify his entire laboratory. He'd create this powerful invisible energy field that filled the whole room. And in that space, any sealed glass tube filled with gas would just light up like a neon sign. It was the first incredible step towards his dream of wireless power. And here's the wild part. He wasn't just watching from a safe distance. He was part of the experiment. He'd hook his own body up to his machines, and his skin would start to glow with this strange light, with streams of energy pouring from his fingertips. And he proved that these super high-frequency currents were way less dangerous than normal electricity. They vibrated so fast they just flowed over the surface of his skin instead of going through his body. He had actually tamed lightning. But look, all these amazing light shows and crazy stunts were never just for show. They weren't party tricks. They were proof. Proof of a concept so big, so profound, that it drove him for the rest of his life. They were all just steps toward what he saw as humanity's ultimate destiny. So you have to ask, right? Why do all this? Why create these mind-bending light shows? Why risk your life to make your own body glow in the dark? Because Tesla believed he was on the very edge of tapping into the biggest power source in the universe itself. This quote right here, this is the heart of his most incredible, most audacious idea. He was completely convinced that the universe was just swimming in a sea of endless energy. And we, here on Earth, were basically dying of thirst while floating in the middle of an ocean. The energy wasn't something you had to make by burning stuff. It was just there, all around us, all the time, just waiting for us to grab it. Now, his key to all this was a concept that scientists at the time called the ether. And yeah, modern physics has moved on from this idea, but for Tesla, it was totally real. It was this invisible substance that filled all of space and carried light and energy. And for him, it was also a limitless tank of free, clean power. He was imagining a future that was completely transformed. He believed that if we could just build the right kind of machine, we could pull clean, limitless energy right out of the air. No more power plants, no more pollution, no more power lines. Energy would be broadcast wirelessly to anywhere on the planet, for free, for everyone. I mean, it was a vision for perfect technological utopia. So this was it. This was the mountaintop. Everything he had ever worked on, from that first simple AC motor to the crazy lightning coils in his lab, it was all leading to this one, single, world-changing goal. So, what happened to that magnificent dream? This slide really says it all. This wasn't just another gadget for him. It was a plan to completely redesign civilization, a plan to end poverty, to give power to everyone, and to launch humanity into a brand new age. This was his great project. And that right there is the question that still haunts us about Tesla. He ran out of money, other scientists fought on him on his theories, and the sheer scale of what he was trying to do was, well, it was breathtaking. His world power system was never finished. But does that mean he was wrong? Or was he just a man so far ahead of everyone else that maybe, just maybe, we're only now starting to catch up to his vision? That's something to think about.